Hi crafty friends. Have you ever had an element of a card that just fought you tooth and nail and refused to cooperate with your grand vision? It's Donna here from Donna is Playing Paper and DonnaDoll74 on Instagram. The background for this card gave me exactly that trouble. For one of these Namaste girls from Pink and Main to sit on, and it took me ever such a long time to get something that I was happy with. But in the end, I was surprised by what I got, and I think I might have stumbled on something that I'm going to try again in the future. To begin with, I used abandoned coral and milled lavender inks. I used my mini Ergonomic blending brush for the abandoned coral, and that came on very nicely. The milled lavender is a much lighter colour, and I think mine's getting a bit dry too. So after a little try with the Ergonomic blending brush, I switched over to an ink blending tool. I often see people asking on forums, which is better, a blender brush or an ink blending tool? And the answer is they're both great, but they do different things. A blender brush is brilliant when you want a very delicate layer of ink, and you can build it up and up and up to get a much deeper, richer colour and get really even coverage. But the blender tools are excellent when you want to put the layers on thick. And that was the case with the milled lavender because it was so light. When that was done, I still wasn't happy with the result, so I started bringing in some deeper colours. First I tried crushed lilac, and then moved on to wilted violet on the bottom, all in distress inks. And I also used some Paper Rose Studio berry ink for the top, which is a really nice hot pink. I kept layering and layering until I got something that was bright enough. Then I spattered it with water, dabbed off the extra, which left me with some beautiful spots. But I thought they were a little bit light, so I came back over the top with the inks. But my paper was a little bit wet, and that caused the ink to pool up around the outside of those spatters. I'm using Bristol Smooth paper here, and that's why the water and the inks are pooling on the top rather than sinking straight in. And that's what gave me the beautiful marbled look that you see here. So I'm definitely going to try that technique again of spattering with water and then coming back with another layer before it dries. In fact, I was so happy with my background that I decided to change which girl I was going to use. The original girl was going to hide too much of my beautiful spatter. I have very few supplies with me here in Australia. The 2 cups that you see contain, firstly, all of my reds, violets, pinks, etc. Pencils, water brushes and Copic markers all combined. And the second cup that came across has all of my browns, greys, and blacks. That's everything I have with me. And so in order to get the colours that I want, I'm doing layering, I'm doing blending of colours, and I'm also using my coloured pencils to deepen areas because I didn't bring any very dark Copics to Australia with me. You'll be able to see that process as we go, and I'm going to add in some music written by my son Darcy so that we can sit back just for a couple of minutes while the colouring is completed. Once this cutie's all coloured, it's just a matter of cutting her out with the matching dies. Yay for not having to cut in and around that neck. And then I've popped her up with some foam tape, cut the whole panel to slightly smaller than my card, and layered everything together. You can see the difference between the Bristol Smooth cardstock and the white card underneath. The Bristol does have a little bit of a creamy tone to it, but I quite like the contrast of the two together. The final touch is a few glitter enamel dots from the Falling For You set from Pink & Main. These were a perfect match for the purples in the card. If you've enjoyed this card, feel free to subscribe to this channel and see what's coming up next. Bye for now. Stay safe, my friends.